make notes, and it's their opinion of what really happened here, because what really happened here never hit either one of those papers. And I can swear that most of the people in this room will tell you that is not what was written down. And I think if most of the people in this township knew that the people that we put our trust in used the words, maybe mistakenly, and didn't think about it, that I have nothing to say, it embarrasses me as a resident. And I can tell you, I've missed about 6 meetings in 25 years in this room. And you could ask Virginia McDonald, Carlene Moore, all these people. I will tell you, and I make notes. I know what happens in this room. I don't need to pick up the newspapers and read bits and pieces, or whoever is writing the paper that goes into our online, because I can tell you what, if they knew half how people are treated in this room, I can tell you right now, I'll tell you the truth. Remember when I brought this in? This takes a lot for me to do. This takes a lot for me to do. You know what? It don't mean nothing. Don't mean a thing. Because the thing of it is, I saw from my own eyes. And I can tell you right now, Rich Peterson's got a good crew. And I know one of them's my son, but I can tell you, I've had different ones to my house. They go down and they pull those people out of those homes in Francisco out of a wheelchair. You know how I know? In a boat. I know if for a fact it happened because the lady was in this room telling us about it. And if we didn't have them, I'd be afraid to live in this township anymore. Because that's the only person that's going to come help you. It's not going to be anybody but Mr. Bosley. I can vouch for that. He came to my house with a bucket and tried to help me save my house. That's how we met. And I can tell you, Todd, I'm telling you right now in front of everybody that I've met in this room, I have respect for you. I have very, very good notes that I can say, what you say, your word is good. I can't say that anymore about our 2 new trustees because, George, you didn't even come here, sit in this room to see what really was going on. Not that I'm beating you up for it. It was a good idea. Jennifer, you came, but I don't know where you were if you didn't get this with Francesca, because I'm a woman, and I can tell you, this is the God's truth. I took these pictures myself, and this goes to show you that pond up there. I know when a pond's filled and when it isn't, because guess what? I live by one. And it's up at St. Joe's. This is filled. Then you have at the bottom, okay? This is the bottom, and since you might not have seen the water, but I don't know where it went while you were there, but because I can tell you what, this didn't go away very fast.
Right, but that's Fairhope Ditch.
That has a lot to do with it. If you're coming down the hill...
But it wasn't in the street of Francesca. It was in the ditch.
That doesn't matter. If you can't get rid of the water at the bottom, where is the water at the top going? In those homes. Mark my words, it will.
Well, we're cleaning the ditch out.
Well, gee, I got news for you. That's been done a few times. 2 months later, you go down there, and I can tell you right now, 2 months later, you go down there, all they do is clean it out a little bit. I could do as good with a weed whacker. And as for your sweeping company that came, they went down our street. And I'm going to tell you, I could have taken a salt and pepper shaker and put the water down that they put down. And they was not picking up a whole lot on Rosedale. But Rosedale is going to be a Francesca. I can guarantee it. Because pipe was put in. We had called, and I called you.
Yes, and I answered. And
you answered. But did they really go after the fact that they put their pipe in? Did they really go and make that man get a permit? How does he know what he should do or shouldn't do?
I went down there, and he made him get a permit.
But the pipe was already in. So in other words, people in Nemeshilan Township, babies, put your pipe in and then call and ask for the permit.
No, he just got busted. And that's why he came without the permit. He was going to go ahead and do it. And you called we went down there and we took care of it.
Yeah, but that is how you get a Francesca. So you write that in your
Right.
notes.
Did they get a permit for that?
Actually,
If you went back down and looked at it.
the residents called about 2 weeks before about a permit, and I told them, yeah, they needed a permit, and they said they weren't ready to do it yet, but they were gonna get a permit while her dad was an estimator, and the job fell
And like
through,
he refused.
so he had an opening, went out and did it. He came in and got, he came in and got the
Okay,
permit.
I just want the right size.
Well, yeah, and, the guy did an excellent job. I recommend anybody to him, yeah.
Okay. All right, Bob, you're next. Bob Kraus.
Hi, my name's Bob Krause. I live at 7506 Bentler Avenue. And last week after the meeting, I was so upset. I drove down to Francesca because I don't live there. So I went down there and I looked what the problem is. And like Todd said earlier, you could sled ride down it. And then to boot, they put a creek. I don't know if it's this Fairhope ditch or whatever, but they put this ditch that's bringing water into already a low spot. I don't know, civil engineering or county engineering or who has that great idea, but they need some place to retain it and pump it out, because it's gonna just flood these people's homes and keep flooding.
What did you refer to?
I guess it's the Fairhope ditch. Is that what you were talking about?
At the end of the street?
Yeah, it's towards about in the middle.
That's the Fairhope ditch.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know whoever came up with that idea of bringing it down through that neighborhood, but that's a terrible idea.
Well, the natural flow for decades and decades ago.
But that doesn't mean that it couldn't have been changed. That's what the county engineers and the engineers, what are they, Army Civil Engineer Group?
Well, the Army Corps of Engineers.
Army Corps.
They're actually supposedly doing a study on this, but we haven't been updated.
Well, I can tell you that they really don't know what they're doing, because they're the ones that, the Army engineers are the ones that do the Nemason Creek. And Nemason Creek hasn't worked right since they built the Canton Indians ball field. It's not called that anymore. But since they built that ball field, Nemason Creek hasn't worked right. It's flooded in different areas. You can see how well it floods in Louisville. It's been flooded there at least 3 times in the past 10 years, if not more. So those Army engineers and the Stark County engineers must not know how to use a level, because water runs downhill, just like shit. It runs downhill. You know, it's pretty simple. And then the third thing I had to talk about is I wanted to ask Jeff. I know my wife called you and you said something about that my neighbors were granted permission for homeowners. Well, they need to get in touch with the building department, because the building department doesn't have any of their structures, home or any of their 7 garages, as industrial or having a business in any of them. So they are actually cheating our township, our schools, of money, because they don't have their taxes done right, because none of them are considered, or none of their buildings, even their home, is not considered a business. So they have to contact the building department, so the building department can come and redo all their stuff that they got to do. I don't know what all they do when they come, but they need to come and do it. And the only way they can come and do it, from what I was told, is you have to talk to your zoning inspector. The zoning inspector has to talk to the landowner and the company owner, and then tell them that they need to contact the building department so that they can be taxed right. And like I said, if they are not taxed right, they're committing tax fraud, which is, like I said, it's cheating our school systems and our roads, our fire department. They're cheating everybody money. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Jeff, is that anything you checked into?
Well, usually if we give a permit, then Stark County also has to do it. You know what I mean? They're second in line. So I don't know how
knowing that the buildings are not there.
The thing is, they're taxing as residential and not commercial,
Yeah.
that's your thought.
Yeah, I know it is. All you gotta do is look on the computer.
Yeah, now the auditor's cards, sometimes they'll say residential, but they won't be classified residential, so I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying that
Well, I know I'm
a
right.
property might say commercial, but it's not commercial.
I already called and talked to
They
them.
call them a commercial class, they have different classes.
I called the building department in case you didn't hear me.
Yeah, but it's the auditor that does the tax.
Well, the building department told me what needs to be done. First you have to go to your zoning guy. The zoning guy's supposed to go to them, the owner, the business owner, and tell them that they need to contact the building department so the building department can zone them, or I don't think it's called zone, so that they can classify their home as a business or whatever other buildings they want to be considered a business.
Okay, Jim Morris, you're up.
Jim Morris, 4514 Eastland. If you're taking advice from Gary Connors, you're taking advice from a tool, in my opinion. Anybody that has put a bridge in Francesca, put a bridge in Willis, twice the size as you got down there on 153, which was built in 1930, before all this development happened, I think our area is a planned flood area to protect people downstream. And I'll tell him to his face if he'd ever show up at a meeting, but the coward won't come here. Under Robert's Rules of Order, a motion is made, a second is, and then the discussion. That's not happening here. Either you follow the rules of order, Robert's Rules of Order, or you don't. You just have whatever you want to do. There's a problem, either one of you is offering a solution. Heaven forbid you have the road department come out and do it. They've got a transom, they got a backhoe, they got the pipe down right down on nickel plate. Stop living in the problem, live in the solution. We're sick of it.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Ronald Salisbury?
Ronald Salisbury, 4561 Eastland Avenue. I concur with Jim on one thing. As long as it's Connors in there, we'll never solve a flooding problem that we've got. We've dealt with him for years. I don't see that young man here tonight, but I'll tell you what, the only way he's going to get water in his house is tape the damn doors shut and turn the faucets on. If you would run a chalk line straight out and down to where that culvert is, you got 50 feet or so. If it gets there, we all better move. But I didn't appreciate him. I think it was a setup thing. Never come here one time and then just disgrace a 14-year plan that we've tried to solve. Took you down there and showed you all of that. But I think it was a waste of time. You know, for the 100th time, you go over there to Peach, Broadway. Water runs across the field, can't run under the road. You get on the other side of the road, you got a big open pipe there and a big ditch that it runs into. It don't run into the pipes going down toward Eastland. You get down there on Eastland where I told them they should have put a culvert in there before they done Peach. It's clapped, the water goes there, it won't run under the road, but nobody seems to want to do anything about it. Now you talk about, well, the pond didn't run over. It only takes one time to destroy our houses. We've been to it 2 or 3 times. But the only water gauge is them damn apartments up there. And I'll say again, if Louisville, Stark County, and this board would pay much attention to the businesses that get flooded in this place for years and never do nothing about it, they got to build bounds around their business so they can exist. All this time, nothing's happened with none of that. I mean, it's just a bunch of crap. Your house don't sit down there. Mine does. Whenever that pond does run over, and it's going to, you going to come down and help me dip water? When you don't live there, there's no feelings for it. Now you take Francesca. You go over there on the south side, there's no drains that run under the road into where her culvert is. There's a hole dug in the ground there, and it runs from here to the wall before it runs down in a pipe through the yard. You get down to next to the last house, and we talked about uneven, drains.